Human rights are being violated. The struggle for human rights has become a major feature of the democratic world. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted by the UN General Assembly on December 10, 1948. Human rights include the inalienable freedoms and legal opportunity of every person from birth. They guarantee a dignified, safe and free existence. The rights of life, liberty, respect, freedom of speech and movement, social and economic rights. They are interdependent. Children are special people in society. The Convention of the Rights of the Child was adopted, approved on December 21, 1995 by the UN General Assembly. However, this document do not sufficiently declare the economic rights of the child, and those that are declared do not have sufficient solution. It would be necessary to determine the minimum amount of funds that each child needs to reach adulthood and develop. If parents cannot provide these funds, the state must provide them. There is no one who has never needed help, especially at a young age. All the expenses of raising a new generation are more than recovered when it reaches maturity. I am convinced that a wise investment in the development of the individual must ultimately become the most useful, the most profitable type of investment activity of every state. Everyone can need help. Of course, this help is provided by the closest people or the state. The conditions and amount of this help are determined by circumstances, social morality, laws, or voluntary donations. But often social security funds are provided by payers and have no direct connection to the previous and subsequent labor and value contributions of those in need of assistance. Sometimes the percentage of social contributions becomes so large that it becomes an unreasonable burden for workers, which leads to attempt to increase the tax burden, which inevitably drives the economy into twilight. Such a system contributes to a secret increase in the number of people who receive assistance but could do without it, as well as the amount of assistance due to imperfect legislation and corruption. Individuals who were full or partial recipient of state assistance now have the right to freely leave their country and become cheap labor in other countries. The essence of the reform I proposed for the future system is that the assistance provided to children and other weakened persons could yield a more beneficial return. The first thing that will significantly differ from previous social protection system will be division of types of social assistance into those that will not be personally accounted for and those that will require personalized accounting. Personalized accounting is the accounting of social benefits that each individual receives. Pension, sickness benefits, other payment resulting from previous insurance payments do not require mandatory personalized accounting. This group may also include non-refundable payments from the budget if they are intended for everyone without exception. For example, schools, etc. Expenditures that come from the budget for various forms of social assistance and are currently non-refundable must be accounted for each recipient and for each purpose for which the assistance was provided. This may include expenses in boarding schools, individual cases of assistance, social pensions, and other payments. The second significant difference from previous social protection system is that the reimbursement of cost will be carried out through general taxes, the payment of which will automatically repay the debts of persons who previously received such assistance but are currently working and usually pay state general taxes. No one will be obliged to pay out of pocket. All citizens pay the same taxes anyway, regardless of whether they have debt or not. The third significant difference from previous social protection system is that the amount of assistance can be significantly increased if necessary, with the obligation to subsequently return the used cost. That is, social assistance in these cases can be used in the form of preferential or regular or burden loans with a special loan repayment system established by law. Such a system will be especially necessary to ensure normal living conditions in large families, for the purchase of housing, for education, for the development of entrepreneurial activity, etc. For these types of assistance described in the third distinction, mixed systems of social credit repayment can be applied, both with the help of available funds and in the form of taxes paid. With strict control over the targeted use of funds, repayment of such loans can be foreseen in the future even by persons who are still minors. If the property or income of persons who used social assistance in set types of provision of such assistance or loans reaches a sufficient level, and payment to repay social loans are delayed, then compulsory forfeiture may be applied in accordance with the adopted legislation. I will briefly repeat the essence of the proposed reforms. It is necessary to conduct personalized accounting of assistance and expenses, to carry out widespread repayment of social payments necessary for development and maintenance through the normal payment of ordinary tax. Assistance should and can be granted beyond that provided for by law upon petitions that provide for ways to recover cost. Provide for full or partial reimbursement of cost incurred from the sources of person who used the assistance if they become capable of doing so. Interstate agreement would be needed on the payment of outstanding social payments in the event of migration for the state from which the emigrant lives by the state to which he arrives. The receiving state could take this cost for personal accounting for the person who arrived. Such a system for emigrants would be fairer than the current order that exists in the free world. Existing social protection systems are fundamentally unfair. Children of wealthy parents have more opportunity for normal development than children of large families. Families with less wealth, although they are often no less capable than their wealthy peers. Often, parents of large families are forced to engage in low-skilled work because they must first and foremost provide some kind of food for their children and do not have the time and means to train or organize more skilled work, often having the abilities and even education for this. This state of affairs is based on social discontent, hatred of more affluent citizens, and is another reason for the emergence of crime as well as becoming the main cause of social explosions that sometimes arise in a free society. The existing system leads to a decrease in the birth rate in a civilized society. Children should have all the conditions for normal growth and development, regardless of the financial situation of their parents and the place of their birth. Parenting will be more effective if the child is aware of the cost incurred for his care and development. The new order of modern people will provide all the conditions of social justice for a normal and happy life for all citizens. It remains only to find out where such huge funds can be found for such a social insurance system, if the return of cost will not happen soon. I made such an attempt in my blog, Good Will Come. I also believe that every person, including every child, should have the right to a free plot of land, unless they or their parents have purchased such plots for everyone. Thank you for your approval, comments, or criticism.